Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, this is Kenya Revolutionary again. I just wanted to make this quick live in reaction to Babu Owino's assessment of Ruto's first year. You can find the full interview at Mutembei TV, where it reads, if you can search under Mutembei TV, Ruto's 1 year in office is worse than forever in hell. Babu Owino gives a list of Ruto's failure. Okay, so let's listen in. I can't play the video because of copyright things, so I don't want to be struck down. But I will play what he says and I'll respond. This is a total freestyle for me. I haven't had the interview. I just want to react to what Babu Owino is saying. Okay, so stay tuned. Let's play the clip. Let's play the clip. All right, this is what Babu Owino says. I have the volume here. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let's go.
Of separation of powers, checks and balances. It is the sole responsibility of opposition to keep checks and balances on the government. That which the government is not doing right, it is the work of the opposition to provide and offer solution, to talk about it so that it is in the public domain. And the only mistake the opposition did was to fight for the cost of living. And we know the cost of...
I hope you heard that. Babu Owino says that he believes in this whole concept of the separation of powers, where checks and balances, where the opposition holds the ruling party accountable for their action, which I agree with him. Yes, we should have checks and balances, the opposition, and Babu Owino. Let me say something here. This is by itself his admitting that they are members, Azimio is officially members of the opposition, okay? So he acknowledges that by saying that, yes, they are the opposition. And he continues and says that the only crime or the only bad, wrong thing that the opposition did was to fight for the cost of living. That's what he said, according to him. So on that, on the first part, when he says that he believes in this doctrine of separation of powers, the opposition holding the ruling party accountable, I'm in total agreement with Babu Owino on this. Now, the only, when he says the only mistake they did is that they were fighting for the cost of living, that's iffy, because when they first started to go to the streets, their main thing was, number one, they did not recognize Ruto as the president, okay? Number two, they say they were fighting for electoral justice. It was not the cost of living at first, if you remember. So that's a slight correction there, Babu Owino. You guys were fighting for electoral justice per se. You did not agree with the results that the Supreme Court announced, okay? So let's hear what he has to say.
Is that amount of money that an average Kenyan just needs to buy basic needs, to pay for rent, to buy food, to buy clothing, to afford education, and to afford healthcare. And that is too high. So as opposition, if dialogue fails, and the way it has failed, then the most appropriate avenue to follow always is the streets, which is enshrined in the Constitution of Kenya. It is an inherent right of every Kenyan to picket peaceably, as entrenched in our Constitution. Yes. And let's talk about the street.
So here Babu Owino says that if the bipartisan talks fail, it is everyone's right. If they feel aggrieved, they can go back to the streets. And he also maintains that, it's their right to go to the streets. And he actually quotes the Constitution. And I'm glad he also mentioned that going to the streets, you have to do so peaceably. Peaceably. That's a key word there, okay? But the reporter is about to ask him something about this peaceably issue, okay? So let's hear what Babu Owino says. Let's hear Babu says. This is very interesting. Tune in. If you have a question, if you want to join the studio, there's the link. Let me put the link up so you can see. There's the link. Hit that link. It's in the chat. It's in the chat. If you're following me through YouTube, hit the chat. Get in. Well, let's discuss. Here what Babu says.
They were very violent. How do you describe it?
I can't say that the protests were violent. Why? Because every Kenyan, and you were present during this protest, you could see the way we could start in a very peaceful way when they were taking an oath, was to protect life and protect property. This government seems more interested in protection of property more than protection of life. Those property shall be enjoyed by the lives, not enjoyed by any other thing, but they are being protected for the lives. Therefore, protection of life is the fundamental right of the government instead of taking life. Look at, for example, the expressway, where the flower pots were more important than the lives that were being lost. You cannot kill citizens that you're supposed to take care of in the name of protecting a flower pot. You cannot say that the Chinese government came to find out why the expressway, the flower pots were destroyed, while you, as the president, you are not going even for one funeral of the Kenyan citizens that were killed by the police officers that are serving under you, that were taking orders from your government. So,
stop right there. Stop right there. Babu Owino says that the government's responsibility was to protect lives of those people who went to protest. And he basically denies that there were no violent protests. Okay? And also he mentions that the president failed to attend not even one funeral of the police officers that were killed. And also, as you heard, he said that the government seems to be more interested in protecting property more than life. And his argument is protecting life is more important than property because these lives will use the property. Good, he makes sense there. But Babu Owino, that's fine. But here is where we go apart. The fact is there were protesters, okay, within this protest. There were people who are looting, okay, throwing rocks at the police. You cannot deny that. I'm not saying that Ruto, the police forces were not using excessive force as far as deadly force, shooting people. Yes, that is wrong. We should hold the government accountable for that. But Babu Owino, I'm not letting you go with this. You, as the opposition, you are also, there was a lot of reports of people getting mugged, robbed, cars set on fire, police were being, wanachapwa na mawe. Even if you listen to the guys in Jivanji Gardens, the Bungala Wananchi, they were very explicitly saying that, if you open your shop while we are having a mandamano, you'll have to explain to us. We shall eat whatever you're selling and we shall take whatever we need to take during mandamano. So you cannot deny and say that these protests were put peaceful, okay? I apportion the blame both on the Azimio folks who are protesting and also the government who are also applying these excess forces. So you cannot run away from that. Now, another point that Babu Owino says is about mentioning that the president didn't even go to one funeral of the police officers that died. Well, name one funeral that Raila went to of the protesters that died. Okay? He only had the vigil at Karen. Remember, the last 3-day mandamano that happened, the third day when the people were being yanked out of their houses and shot and beaten to death, Raila Odinga never went to Nyalenda and hold a vigil in Nyalenda, Kisumu. Okay? He never went to there and have a vigil in Nyalenda, Kisumu. That's where the atrocities happen, not in Karen. And to make the matters worse, again, he had walked in there in that vigil with Uhuru Kenyatta. That's why I said, Babu Owino, if you're watching this, why couldn't Raila Odinga ask Uhuru Kenyatta, who in 2017 was shooting down Kenyans, Luos in Kisumu, who died and dumped bodies at River Yala. Babu Owino, the same thing you're accusing Ruto of, you can accuse Raila Odinga, who is the head of the opposition, doing the same thing. He never cared about those people, especially after he had the handshake, he never mentioned anything about police brutality, electoral justice, none of it. He didn't go to any funeral. He didn't compensate anyone. His supporters who died, he never did that. So you can't really say that Ruto didn't show up in any funeral of the police officers. Raila did the same thing, and Raila actually was sending Luos who were unarmed to throw stones and get shot. So Babu Owino, they're both, again, you can apportion the blame on both sides, okay? But let's keep on listening. Let's listen carefully. Here's Babu Owino still going on. I hope you can hear it. It's loud enough.
This was very unfortunate because these are the dark days that we are back in. I went to Mombasa for a meeting, a parliamentary meeting together with Nairobi members of parliament. Coming back at around 9 p.m., I was approached by 8 guys, the DCI officers from the DCI headquarters. What were they saying? That I'm being required to go and record a statement. I asked them over what? They told me I will not.
I'm an investor in a fund that helps advance.
Sorry, guys. That's a commercial. Sorry, people. Oh, Lord. I'm going to another video. Sorry. Anyway, let me go back to Babu Owino. I kind of messed up there, so we shall go back to that. Hold on for a second. I'm messing up. Anyway, like I said, yes, I understand from the opposition point of view. Babu Owino is mentioning the ills that the government was doing, which is fine. All right, why is this thing happening like this?
Checks and balances.
Okay.
It is the sole responsibility.
Back to Babu Owino.
Because every Kenyan, and you are present during this protest, were more important than the lives that were being lost. You cannot kill citizens that you're supposed to take care of in the name of protecting a flower pot. You cannot say that the Chinese government came to find out why the expressway, the flower pots were destroyed. While you, as the president, you are not going even for one funeral of the Kenyan citizens that were killed by the police officers that are serving under you, that were taking orders from your government. So even this was very unfortunate because these are the dark days that we are back in. I went to Mombasa for a meeting, a parliamentary meeting together with Nairobi members of parliament. Coming back at around 9 p.m., I was approached by 8 guys, the DCI officers from the DCI headquarters. What were they saying? That I'm being required to go and record a statement. I asked them over what? They told me I will know barely. Then, with the 8 people I could not manage, I was just alone. Decided to get into one of their vehicles, a Subaru, which was driven from the airport to town, from town to TRM. That is where they changed the number plate. When we reached there, they were changing the number plate there. So they handcuffed me from the airport after the...
So here Babu Owino is basically describing his ordeal when he the third day of Mandamano, and the police arrested him in the airport and they took him whatever they took him. So I can't really respond to that because that is his experience. There's no right or wrong. I can't challenge him on that. That's his experience, what he went through as far as with the government. But let me see. Let's keep on going.
People probably wanted to kill me. So I told them there's no need of going far. I was sleeping on the floor. And the floor was also...
Born in Atlanta.
Hold on. I'm just going to go to the next one. Let's hear it. Hold on, guys. All right.
They are wasting. The movements they are making, all that resources. Why can't they divert all that resources to Lamu, where people are being killed? To other areas where there are cattle rustlers. Why can't they divert all those energies there? Government should let opposition do its work. We were not going after anybody. We are just fighting for the cost of living to be lowered, of which if they just lowered the cost of living, there would be no protest. And they were using too much force on us. Why would you arrest a member of parliament at night, take him to an unknown destination?
I partly agree when he says that the resources should be moved to other places like Lamu and whatever, where the castle rustlers are committing, terrorizing the Wananchi. I agree with that. What else does he say? He's saying there were the government was using excessive force to throttle, to respond to their peaceful protest during the Mandamano. One thing I would like to tell Babu Owino is this. This is where I find it disingenuous. Babu Owino, if you're listening, if you're protesting, okay, first of all, if the cost of living is high, number one, your first reaction is not to go to the streets and protest. Yes, you have the right to the protest, so I can't tell you. If you feel like going to protest, that's fine. But your work as opposition, okay, the member of the opposition, okay, is to come up with a counter proposal that counters the government's policy, okay? And you can do that at the parliament, the National Assembly. You come up with your own whatever version of proposal, discuss that with your members of parliament, the ones on the opposition and on your side, see if you can rally and meet and have an understanding, have a solution, okay, based on the proposal that you have drafted to counter what seems to be not working that's being applied by the government. So if Ruto's government policy, economic policy, is not working, David D, his proposal that his advice and president is not working, Babu Owino, your job as the opposition, you draft your own proposal, discuss it at the National Assembly with the MPs of UDA and whatever, Kenya Kwanza, see how you can improve it, okay? Those discussions should be happening at the parliament, at the National Assembly, not at the Bomas, discussing how you can change the constitution to give, to create offices of the opposition, okay? And another correction, Babu Owino. Right now, in this interview, you are speaking as the member of the opposition. When you first started at this Mandamano, you are not the opposition. As I said, you did not recognize Ruto as the president. You said that he's not the president and you did not recognize him. Your main thing was the electoral justice. Every day you were telling us different numbers saying that Chebukati rigged the election for Ruto. That is what you guys went for Mandamano too, until later on when you changed it into it's now cost of living, because cost of living is high, because most Kenyans were complaining about cost of living. That's when you switched up to cost of living. Because remember, when you first started the first Mandamano and the second one were not successful, because you're talking about what? You are talking about electoral justice, and everyone felt that Raila lost fair and square. No one wanted to go out there, but Kenyans were complaining about the cost of living. And that's when you and the opposition, Azimio, jumped on the cost of living bandwagon. So your very, very first Mandamano, your reason for Mandamanoing was not the cost of living. It was rejecting Supreme Court's decision about the election. And you're talking about the electoral justice. You wanted the whatever servers to be, remember, you are telling whatever Ruto to open the servers. That's what you are talking about, whatever. So let's not pretend now that you've accepted that you're opposition, that it was all about cost of living. Cost of living came out later. I'm not defending the government, by the way. I agree with you, Babu Owino, when you talk about the excessive force which government used on Azimio folks when they were protesting. Okay? Even though some of you Azimio folks supporters were acting violently, the protests were not peaceably as the constitution says. In fact, there's a video clip where Raila Odinga praises the youth for throwing stones and doing all kind of chaos. Okay? So let's not be, don't be disingenuous here, but I agree with you on the excess force part of it. I agree on you on that. The rest, Babu, and I can't speak on what you went through. Okay, I know you were abducted by the police forces, and I don't know, they took you to the cell. That I cannot comment because I don't know why they've detained you. Why, what. All I know is the government wanted to stop this maandamano. Okay, but if you are mistreated or treated bad, pole. I can't speak on that. That's your experience. Like, I wasn't up there. People didn't see what happened. We just heard that you are detained and were being held without any charges. So let's go on.
While you can summon this member of parliament because he's not a flight risk. I would not leave the country. I have a constitutional mandate to perform, a constitutional role to perform on my people, the people of Embakasi East constituency. Why wouldn't they just call me, summon me, if they needed anything from me to put to make things clear, to clarify on any other matter? So the idea of arresting leaders will not help because leaders have been arrested before, but people fought. Along the way, some people died, but those who are alive will still fight. Along the way, some people cow, but those who are remaining will still fight. So it doesn't matter the strategies they use, the intimidation tactics they use, it doesn't matter. I remember in 2007, Ruto himself was in the same situation we are in now. He was in opposition. He was fighting for the rights of the downtrodden. He was demonstrating because it is something that he believed that was a right for the Kenyan citizens. What is he doing now? He's using the same tactics that the former governments were using that failed. So he's literally planning to fail. Nothing has been addressed. Actually, 1 year in office, what we can celebrate is the many travels that this government has made abroad. But nothing else. The other day I was seeing you were airing Ruto's government in 1 year. 1 year in office. But I'm so saddened because look at the health sector. The health sector itself is sick. Health is sick. Why is health sick? Increment of payment of NHIF is...
I agree with him. There's a lot you can point out that haven't been addressed with this government in this past year. So, Babu Owino, again, you're an MP. These issues you should agitate for at the parliament. Yes, I get it, this interview. So, you're saying what's going wrong. They ask you a question, you're answering it. But one thing you have to understand is that since you've accepted you're a member of the opposition, you're part of government, whether you're in opposition or not opposition, because the legislative body is an arm of government. The three arms of government, Babu Owino, okay? We have the judiciary, we have the legislative body, and we have the executive, okay? And these three arms of government, their goal is to work for the people that elected them, that donated their sovereign authority to. So Babu Owino, if the government is not working, Ruto is failing in his promises or his policies. What are you doing as the Embakasi East member of parliament to change things around for the betterment of the people who voted you on? Okay? I agree. You can point what's going on, what's wrong, what has not been done. Ruto has been there for what, 12 months now, or a little bit more than 12 months? But what are you doing? Maandamano will not bring any change. You'll go and maandamano uvae sufuria kwa kichwa, upigane na polisi, watu wakufe, and complain about the people who got killed. Then hope for Muhammad Manyora to go to Citizen TV and tell that to convince people that having a talk and giving Raila Odinga the official opposition office is going to bring us peace. Okay? But that's not going to address the issues that Kenyans want. So you as an MP, what are you doing? What have you brought? What bill have you drafted to bring in the table at the parliament to fight what Ruto is, what you feel Ruto is doing wrong? That's why I give an example of Okiya Mtata. He's doing the right fight, not going to West Sufuria and fighting with the police in the streets. He took it to the judiciary and said, this finance bill is wrong. This budget was passed illegally. Let's look at that. That's the real fight. As an MP, he's fighting in the interest of the people. This finance bill is draconian. What are you doing, Babu Owino? Because you're part of government, whether you like it or not. Opposition or not, you are part of the government. Okay? Because Ruto's failure is everyone's failure, Kenyan's failure. So we have to work together, all of us, opposition and the leading party. So my question to you, instead of pointing out what's wrong, which is okay, there's nothing wrong with pointing out that, hey, this hasn't been fixed, this hasn't been fixed, that's okay. But you should also be able to answer, what have I done as an MP to bring change, to fight against what I feel is not working, to fight so that I can see the healthcare part of it, improve. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm looking to hear, not gloating and glitting and bleating about what's wrong with government. What are you doing? You have the power, you have the mandate. Do something. Babu Owino, do something. Okay.
Burdening the common mwananchi. Why would you increase NHIF on them? Why would you divide NHIF into three? That is the Social Health Insurance Fund. And you say that after dividing that into three, then the Social Health Insurance Fund shall be managed by a private sector. So you literally saying as a president that public fund should be managed by private individuals. That is completely out. The primary health sector, number two.
Big point. Good point, Babu Owino. NHIF that the president wants to privatize, okay? Public money to be managed by a private firm. It's a huge no. Babu Owino, you are a member of parliament. You can legislate. You can pass a bill. What are you doing to stop that? The legislative branch is supposed, MPs and senators are supposed to check the executive. Senators, oversight in the Senate. Talk to your friends in the Senate. What are they doing? Okay, are you going to let the private firms manage our public money? Babu Owino, I like that you're mentioning the problems, but where is the solution? We gave you the power to come up with solutions. Call me if you want to give me solutions. I can speak about them. Join in if you're watching me.
And the third one is the emergency and the chronic funds. With these three, you are literally increasing the administrative cost.
Hold on. Sorry, guys, that's an ad. Sorry. We'll get to it.
They don't call it the witching hour for nothing.
I'll get to it. This is a commercial. We're coming back to Babu Owino. All right, there's Babu Owino.
Increase the administrative cost. What are you doing to the government? You are overburdening the common mwananchi because that is a recurrent expenditure, cannot lead to growth of an economy. Number two, in the education sector, it is so sad, Stephen Leto. It is so sad. You and I, we are where we are because of education. I remember you are the great University of Nairobi. You are who you are as Leto because of education. Why not for education, you would have not come to Nairobi. Why not for education, I would not be a member of parliament. Why not for education? Even Ruto himself, who was a beneficiary of boom, would not be where he is today. Rigathi would not be where he is today. And I can tell you for sure that during Moi's time, there used to be boom, where they were getting free funding for university. All the students who qualified for university were being admitted at 100%. They were getting boom, they were getting loans. During Kibaki's time, there was introduction of the HELB, the Higher Education Loans Board, where people were getting help, and there was also bursaries, and there was also extra loans in addition to that. During Uhuru's time, HELB was maintained. During these three regimes, there was 100% transition. Students were moving from high school in tunes of hundreds of thousands, joining university to pursue education. During Ruto's time is the only time where students are not joining university. There's no difference between a student who scored an A with a student who scored an E, because the student who scored an A cannot proceed because they cannot afford university fees. During Ruto's time is the only period where hundreds of thousands of students cannot join university. We are killing the education sector in this country, and we know the role of education in the economic growth of a nation by provision of skilled laborers. And in any place you go to in agriculture, they are skilled laborers. In health, they are skilled laborers. In the industries, they are skilled laborers. In every other place, they are skilled laborers. You are expecting, Leto, where you come from in Narok, where I come from in Kisumu, Nyalenda, you expect a parent who is selling vegetables, the mama mboga, the boda.
Where is the lie there? I agree. Babu Owino, I agree. I agree with you. Good point. And by the way, I didn't know you're from Nyalenda. So you should be advocating for the people who got killed in Nyalenda. You should be advocating for that. But anyway, I'll give you a pass. Let's keep on listening.
The rider, the person who wakes up in the morning to go from Jengo, you expect that person, Leto, to part with 300,000 per year to pay for a social science course, the minimum cost. For 4 years, that person should part with 1.2 million Kenya shillings. You expect a mama mboga who makes a profit of 50 shillings per day, or even 100 shillings only. In a month, that is only 3,000 Kenya shillings. In a whole year, 3,000 by 12 is 36,000 Kenya shillings. So 36,000 Kenya shillings as a profit. Where will you get 1.2 million to pay for 4 years? Stephen Leto, this is quite unfortunate. We are killing the education in this nation, an education that has made Ruto who he is, education that has made Rigathi who he is, education that has made Stephen Leto and Babu Owino who they are. So I can say that we've destroyed completely education in this country. Then we go to agriculture. Today, if you go to the universities, you will find the students are not in a position to join. We are told that there are only 45,000 students who will benefit, who will be given scholarship. And of these 45,000 students, Leto, there is no money for accommodation. How will they get it? While HELP used to provide for that. They used to get money from HELP. They pay a fee. The little amount remaining, they used to buy food. They appointed a man on Ruto, a person who is educated, who is a doctor, who has advanced his education, who does not value the importance of education, having known that it is education that has brought him where he is. A person who was a minister for agriculture, having known the worth and the importance of agriculture.
Okay, so that's pretty much what the interview is about. It stops there. I don't know if there was longer than that, but I'm just going by that clip. He makes a good point. You know, education is important because we need more skilled laborers. You know, not everyone shall do kazi ya mjengo. We need more people who are technocrats. You know, you have to learn something, a trade. So he emphasizes, sorry. Yeah, so he emphasizes, I was just reading a text. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. He was just emphasizing the importance of education and basically highlights that education is what got him where he is. And that's what got Ruto where he is. So we should, the president should invest more in education. I don't disagree with him. There's really no reason to. I agree wholeheartedly. What I do say is this, again, rather than point the finger at the administration, which is fine. That's your work as an opposition. I have no quarrels or qualms about that. You should. But you should also tell the people what you've done. I can't stress that enough. You are part of government. You know, in Kenya, when you say, you know, when I'm in a party, let's say if I'm in UDA and UDA wins, and we have a president who was a UDA person, people think, okay, I'm the government, and the opposition are not government. No, the opposition is part of the government, believe it or not. So we have to rewire the way we think, okay? So what I would have loved to hear from Babu Owino is this. Yes, he should point out that Ruto is not doing the right thing when it comes to education. He should invest more in education. Talking about boom and help and all that stuff, you know. That's fine. But he should also tell us, hey, I introduced a bill that will make it a law that university students should have at least, or say this, a law that says a percentage of the revenue that we collect should go to education, and part of it should go to the universities students to support the students while they go there. In fact, or come up with a bill that says a percentage of the whatever revenue that's collected yearly should go to support free higher education, whether it's the boom, what we call boom in the Moy days, or the HELB, whatever HELB, or you know, just to cover the education part, the fees, the tuition fee, the salaries for the professors. Okay, so that's what I'd like to hear from Babu Owino, instead of just saying, okay, this is not working, Ruto is not doing this, this is which is fine. He should do that. I'm okay with that. I'm not really against that. Yes, he should point out what's going wrong and what the president is doing wrong, but also him as somebody who is part of government, opposition part, what is his role in this? What has he come up with to try to mitigate the situation? Whether it's the cost of living, whether it's the education, whether it's the agricultural part, whether it's the trade, whatever the case is. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say about that. That's a quick review of Babu Owino's interview. You can find that on mtembei.tv and YouTube. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, my name is Kenya Revolutionary. I'm here every day, going live for at least an hour, 30 minutes. You know, if you want to talk to me, there's the link. You can get in the studio and talk to me. You can go to my channel, post your comments. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. Again, make sure to subscribe, like, shake, subscribe, like, share, comment, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace and blessings.